Okay.
Ready to take that breath?
Are we live?
I guess so.
Oh, man.
It shouldn't be doing. It should just be music.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's not. Can they hear us?
Maybe.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, let's see. Okay.
We'll turn on to the... Hello.
Hey, there we go. Okay. So, how you doing, Michael?
I'm good, Jamie. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know what? I want to get your handsome self in there.
Squeeze in.
So,
Adjust the cameras.
there we go. Transfigurate the power resonator. There we are. We look like two anchor men. Oh, you know, I didn't even realize, but I'm wearing a skeleton on my...
I did realize.
That's kind of funny.
Very appropriate.
Okay, I'm not saying that I, active goth wear all the time. So, my name's Jamie.
And I'm Michael.
And we're My Two Wands. And
the two of wands.
The two of my two wands.
Something like that.
Oh my gosh, it's the middle of the week. So anyway, Michael, why do we do this?
Because we have to.
Because we have to. Because our significant others... I just always like to let people know why we do this, because
Indeed.
Our significant others, we would have dinner together and we'd spend 2 hours talking about tarot and they would want to shoot us.
Death would come.
Death would come. And so we had this idea where we would do this show and we would not talk about the tarot all week long.
To our minds, yeah.
When we get together. So we haven't talked about the tarot at all since our last show. And the big thing about that is that, Michael, what are you doing on the side by chance?
On the side. It's more than on the side.
It's more like a career, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's a professional artist. So.
I've been obsessing over creating this my own tarot deck, and I'm now going through the cards that I've already done and reworking them. So
one day you all are going to be able to see the tarot deck that he's creating. It's got I've seen a lot of it, and it's a mixture of old, a lot of old. Yeah. It's a mixture of esoteric and secular, and you've added a ton of stuff to it.
I have, and hopefully this year that's the goal is to buckle down and really try and finish this year, but we'll see.
Hey, Roy. Hey, Roy's there.
Hey, Roy.
Hey, man. How you doing? You like my new camera, Roy? I'm still figuring out the settings on it.
And unfortunately, anybody that is trying to find me on Twitch, thank goodness for Jamie, because my camera is down today. It's dead.
I'm streaming. We're streaming here on Twitch, YouTube at the MyTarot channel, and here on Facebook.
Yes.
So
today's the unnamed card.
The unnamed card, Le Mort.
Number 13.
Le Mort. So, and if anybody has read Discworld, the Le Mort is a character.
Ah.
Yeah, it's really great. So, you can imagine what the character is. Okay, so, what have you got for us today?
Death.
Death.
Sweet death. Yes, indeed. So, do we have your...
Well, we do.
Yeah, let's go.
So you want to just jump... Well, here, let's talk about the history of death.
Yes, indeed.
Did you know people have been dying for a long time?
Since the beginning Since the very beginning.
So, yes. And so one of the things I was thinking about before we even start, it's like, so we see death in one way. But back in the Middle Ages, back in the 1500s, 1400s, death was just this commonplace thing, right? I mean, people would live in the house with the elders, and you would watch people die. I mean, it's just part of the process.
No.
And thinking about 14th and 15th century, a lot of people would see one, if not two or three children die.
Sure.
So they literally had... a close bond with death, and they had to try and make sense of it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, and I put this down here also, but just in our culture, there's people with different cultures. We kind of hide from death. So we put our sick into a hospital, and we hide them away so they're not with their family. They could be in a hospice in our country, or we just try and avoid it. And the funerals, we have our funerals to try and again, it just seems like we don't want to talk about death, the passing, things like that. So that would have been totally different. So yeah. So we were about to go then into the very first cards.
Yeah. So the Carrie Yale.
And I'm going to switch this over.
The Carrie Yale Visconti, also known as the Madrone, the very first tarot cards that we have in existence, that we still have with us. And this is the death card from that very first, or the oldest one that we have. And we've got good old Grim Reaper here with the white bandana, which stands for freedom.
It stands for freedom. I read that in multiple places too.
Yeah. So it's not like a blindfold. You're free to move on to the next thing. And in the early...
Yeah, I wasn't able to find a reference why each one of these places would call it freedom. So I was kind of curious about that. And if anybody knows... there's some people in the comments already.
The white scarf, I mean, I know it means surrender sometimes,
right.
but I'm not quite sure what the freedom thing, but I do know that it does mean that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Mahaya's saying they're more afraid of the Ten of Swords and the Tower, and for very good reasons.
Yes, indeed. So we'll get to that. The death card really isn't as doom and gloom as you would think
as people would think. Yes. Yeah. So he's got the bandana.
Yep. And then he's reaping to the left. He's facing left to cut off the old, which is in the past. And then going forward to the right, as you go from left to the right, usually that's indicating time. So he's cutting the past away, which is interesting that he's facing that way.
And we don't know at this point what if they were even thinking about something along that line.
It's speculative.
Yeah.
But interesting that the very first or the oldest one that we have...
Well, do they know which one is really the oldest of the two Viscontis?
They do. So this one did come first. This one came slightly after, but very, very close after. And here, we don't even have the sai. We have a bow and arrow.
We have a bow and arrow. So we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
The other thing that I noticed about this card is... look at the detail on this guy. So literally, he's almost like there's still
flesh on those bones.
Well, there's an autopsy almost. Has he been opened up and then restitched?
Well, he's not,
because I know that they would do it anatomical. They would do anatomy stuff. Mm-hmm. So, and I know that they may have seen like Galen's books or whoever was studying the anatomy. But you'll notice also that the flesh is pulled taut, and yet you can still see the inside. So he is literally ripped open.
Or he's decomposing or what?
Decomposing, exactly, yes.
But he's not an old skeleton. He's fresh.
This is a gruesome card.
Yep.
If you really think about it. And then here, let's go to the people on the bottom down here. So unlike some of the later ones, we have full bodies of people. As you go later on, you'll see that you just have, in some cards, their heads. Some cards, it's going to be heads and arms. But here we do have like full bodies, and showing that it comes for the poor and it comes for the rich, it comes for the religious, it comes for anybody.
For everyone. Yep. Death comes for us all.
So this is one of them. And then one that you don't see very often is the one with the bow and arrow.
Right. And so the way that I understand it is that in the early versions of depictions of death, he was depicted not just with the sai, but also with a pitchfork, other agricultural tools because he's reaping, the harvest time. Also the bow and arrow, though, which is interesting.
Which he is considered the hunter of souls.
That's
it turned into it was a popular theme there for a while.
Yeah.
That they saw him as the hunter of souls, as opposed to just a reaper.
As the agriculture, yeah.
So it's interesting that the two Viscontis that we have, that they would
Go
have
both ways.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we got that. And another thing, so as we're going through the culture, and we've got our Reaper here and stuff, one of the things that people would be, it was a very religious time, obviously, and so in John 12:24, and this is the NIV translation. So they would have heard this how many times, but very truly I tell you, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. Anyone who loves their life will lose it, while anyone who hates their life in this world will keep it for eternal life.
Well, going with the Bible quotes, I've got one from Revelation, St. John, the famous pale horse. But when I was browsing through that, it was kind of interesting that that there were the other horses, like the Conquest. There were 3 white horses for Conquest.
Right.
There were, the horse of war was red. The horse of famine was black. And for death, it's not a white horse, but it's a pale horse.
A pale horse.
Yeah.
Which, when you die, you are pale.
You get pale, exactly.
Is why I assumed that was.
Yep. But yeah, 13th century, you also had the dancing skeleton as opposed to the Grim Reaper.
Yes.
So you'd have the happy death.
I was going to try, and I could not get this working out. So this is actually a colored picture. But yeah, you had the picture here. Here he is with the side. But Death is welcoming each one of these, and it shows the
look how
rich,
happy he is.
the poor, and they would be, the dance of death. And, there's other medieval pictures that show more obvious dancing.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like that. To befriend death is to live more fully, and that goes along with the whole memento mori, remember death.
Absolutely.
And enjoy the dance because death is not the end.
So they had a close relationship with death. And obviously the church could use that to scare the crap out of people too.
Well, there's that.
Okay, so now we've got that. The death is so the thing is with death, and I'm going to get my little pencil over here, is that they are always presented as living creatures. So death is a living creature, and it's one of the ones in most of the cards. A lot of the people, there's no activity. They'll be sitting there other than maybe the Chariot or something, maybe there's a couple others. But it's interesting also that death is always the one that is in action at that time.
Oh, he is
a card of movement.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So, let's see. Yeah, and of course back then people would have seen the allegory of Persephone, which I'm surprised that nobody's added that to their deck because it is a cycle of life and death.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of custom decks, but nobody's thought about...
Well, yeah, because it's associated with the lover card.
No, Persephone is considered, because remember that she went to Hades, she ate the thing, and then she was allowed to come back. So when she goes to visit Hades...
Yep.
That's where death is. Everything would die. People would reap the fields, and then in spring would be the rebirth.
Exactly.
And again, which is the focus of this card, is about death and rebirth.
But in the Golden Dawn deck, you see that that story acted out, and Was it the Lover's card, or was it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the Lover's card.
Oh, that has the seeds. Is it the persimmon seeds?
No. Well, yeah, absolutely. That
Right.
connects it too. But if you go back to our our lovers talk,
Which this is just Cupid when he got older.
no.
More discontent.
No.
You sure? Okay, you sure? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
I'm pretty sure it's the Lover's card, but there's the whole title of Persephone, where he's slaying the sea dragon and she's chained to the rock.
No. You're thinking of a different one.
Which
no.
Which one was that?
Persephone. No, Persephone is the one who marries Haiti.
Yeah.
She's the one he brings her down there, tricks her into eating
Yep.
the seed.
Yeah.
And then so that's a whole different story. That's a totally separate story.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe I'm getting confused.
Okay. So anyway, so we got the 15th century with the Visconti, and we've got all those wonderful cards. And it is a direct reference to the fourth horseman in the book of Revelations. And so the Bible's a good way to go. And yes, I agree with you, Roy. It does look like Starry Night on the inside.
Starry Night.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, it's swirly guts. Got it.
Well, that's what his friends call him. Those in the know call him swirly guts. So,
Little Von Gogh.
yes. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." And I looked and beheld a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death.
Yes.
So, yeah. Again, one of those frightening things.
Fire and brimstone.
Fire and brimstone, buddy.
I tell you.
Okay. So, but there's I showed the other picture, but there's a lot of woodcuts from that time period showing the bow and arrow, showing him as the hunter. This particular picture here shows a dandy of a woman, and she's got romance novels on the bottom here, and she's living
All
kind
the
of
treasures.
that decadent life. She's got everything,
Yep.
and yet when the end comes, we're all the same.
Exactly. You can't take it with you. That reminds me.
Although I will try.
That reminds me of the later card here with all the treasures.
Oh yeah.
But material things are only temporary. So the only thing you take with you is your soul.
Yeah. So then, where are we going from there? So we've got that.
Yep.
Then
Here's
then we get to move up to. Well, I did get the Rothschild. And
Okay. Yep.
Here we go. So some of the oldest wood block decks out here.
Yep.
And this is the Rothschild, the Budapest, the Rosenwald, and the Rothschild. And these were actually, were they all found in book bindings?
Yeah.
So literally, when they would do these uncut sheets, test sheets, sheets that they were going to throw away, they would literally use them as book bindings and use that and things like that. And so they found them. And so we've actually got this one right here. We got to go to DC because we're just right outside of DC. We've got to go to the National Library.
Yeah,
We've got
check
to
it
take
out.
a look at that sheet cut.
Yep.
So this right here, though, we're talking about 15th century. And you can see, again, we have here he's trampling over the people.
On his horse.
With
his scythe.
Yeah. So these are just some other early decks that we don't have any copies of. And that proceeds right after the Visconti. So then we got the Noble.
Yes, indeed.
You got your Noble. I've
do.
got my Noble.
Yes.
So here's our Nobles.
So I've got the cleaned up version. Jamie's got the historical recreation. But this is the first Marseille style deck. Again, the Reaper is facing towards the left.
He is.
To cut away the old. And the heads are growing in the field or just cut off.
And either they have hats or hair. Nobody can quite determine that.
It looks like a crown to me.
What, on his head?
Oh, yeah, that kind of looks like a little dew. Yeah, he's got some hair.
So don't know what that is. He's kind of smiling. He looks like he's enjoying his job.
He's a happy death.
It's a good day.
Yes.
And this is where we
a good day
start
to
seeing.
die.
Yeah. And there's speculation why there's just where we just see the head. Some people say that when you are reaping corn, you just go for the head, you go for the important part, blah blah blah. They have no clue why. It all sounds good.
Off with his head.
Off with his head. So then we started coming along, and then we have the 1701.
And he's flipped. Look at that.
He is now flipped. So, and here we're at the Dodell. And this is the famous one here. And again, now this one here happens to be flipped. Although we do also have the Paris sheet.
Yeah, that goes, the older ones.
It's going that direction, but these here are facing in the other direction.
But maybe it was a misprint, and that's why it was thrown away in the book binding.
Or maybe not. Well, what's interesting is this is also the first time where we actually see the numbers.
Yes.
On the cards themselves, because by this point, people were just assumed before that they knew what the cards were. As in, they played the game, and with tarot cards, it's a trump deck, and so when you're playing, the the high priestess or the papist would trump the magician because 1 and 2, and then
triumph over him,
and then the Pope would triumph over the emperor.
Yes.
And that's without even having them numbered.
Because they just knew the game.
Because they knew the game.
But as the game becomes more popular, you want to start numbering so
that they start adding the numbers.
Mass people can play.
Mass producing.
Yep.
So we have that, and that's 1701. Mm-hmm. And then this is the one that becomes the most popular deck.
Yeah, and again, he's facing right as because this has been changed now for the future.
And so this is the Convert deck, and this is the one that a lot of the esoterists from this point would start referencing and making their own decks from at that point. And something interesting that somebody had pointed out is that in some of the older decks, the Fool is the image of death.
He's close.
And so with the note, I should have pulled out the other one for the because it also matches with the Donnell, where it's almost.
This is the Noble.
Yeah. With the Donnell here, it would almost. I'm sorry. It is with the Noble. It's almost like a mirror image, and so it almost seems like in some of these early decks, they intentionally had the Fool in the same position, the same, where they would be matching.
Well, that's yeah, and it makes me think of as the Fool as he's that in between state, like between incarnations. So slightly after death, you would be ready to reboot.
Or this is what happened. This is what happens to the Fool.
Well, that's another way.
Death.
That's another way of looking.
So as part of his journey. So. Okay, so we've got the Convert.
Yep.
So now we're starting to get into the decks where they start to look even more familiar. And then just to take a look at some of the other ones as we start going up the line. 1883, we've got the Swiss JJ, which is derived from Vasquillon. And we have the 1880. So they've started.
And all the treasure.
Now they have the treasure. It's showing that the treasure is being swept away.
Yeah, here's another one with the treasure.
Yep. And that's the Giovanni Vacetta.
Yes, indeed.
And that is 1893. Then we also have, who else we got? Then we got the Oswald Wirth, which is 1899. So the decks have pretty much stayed consistent.
Well, they added hands and feet that start to creep in.
But here
and treasure.
But here's hands and feet in the Dodell right there.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So and also if we go back again, because the converse got it.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
So the Dodell is copying the converse very closely. So this is 1760. This is 1701.
Well, wouldn't the convert be copying the Dodell?
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I said, but I just reversed it for you. 1701, 1760.
There we go. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So there we kind of have the history of them.
Oh, and here's another ancient one. This is the Minchiati deck, which is got Grim on his horse, facing leftward. But that's another early deck.
Right. So.
But moving forward.
I know you're going to want to talk about. Well, we got the Rider-Waite.
Indeed.
So here we are with the Rider-Waite.
Okay. So, yeah. So starting with the Rider-Waite, we've got a whole bunch of new things to consider. So we've got multiple people here. There's the kings lying on the ground.
Yep.
You've got the young, the beautiful, the pious.
Yep.
All represented.
Yep.
All represented. Basically saying that death comes for everybody, so eat, drink, and be merry, because tomorrow we may die.
Right.
But, the wealth is... The idea is the wealth should be, shared. If it's it's wasted.
It should be shared. I've never quite thought of it that way. For me, it shows that it's just fleeting. The moment's it doesn't matter who you are, whether you are a child, a grieving wife, a king. Religious, and there's a king down there that's getting trampled.
Right. There's crown is off the thing. And then we've got the flag here, which is the what's it called?
The white rose.
That's correct. Yep, the mystic rose, and it represents life, and it's black and white, and it is the reverse of the death guy. He's black on a white horse. This is the white rose on a black flag. So it's flipped, but it's again that combination of life and death. Flip-flopping. It's not just the death card. It's just as much about life as it is about death.
Right. And so Waite says about this card, Waite explained in detail how to read the card in his book. On the card, a harnessed skeleton sitting on a white horse, taking the lives of anyone on his path. In his hand, a black flag with a white rose on it representing change, transformation, and spiritual growth.
Sure.
Yes. So, and he's got the sun in the background, and there's a little tower going on right there.
Oh, so the two towers here
is from the Lord of the Rings.
No. They're called Hermes Towers, and they're sacred to Hermes, and it marks the boundaries of the known. So he's going to the unknown.
Right.
This is. The sun is rising, so that's the happy part to remember that again, death is not the end. It's just leading to the next incarnation. This is all about progression and
right
and movement and change, creativity. If you want to link it back to, as I like to, the 13 goes back to the 3. So the 3 is the Empress, and she is all about.
She is Persephone. She's a rebirth. She's the Earth Mother.
Right. So she's pregnant. She's creating. She's a creative force.
Yep.
And death is kind of like the other half of that. It's in order to it's the male creative because to kill is to create something new. It's a darker way of creating.
Men kill, women create.
Right, exactly. But that, and I'll get to that a little bit further with the Crowley deck. But
and so what Michael's talking about, we talk about this each one, is that a lot of people have different types of numerology, and so you can take it and you can say actually death with 10 plus 3, that's 1 plus 0, so that would be 1. Or I'm sorry, 13. So 1 plus 3 is 4, which But what we're saying here is that we believe in the cycle of tens.
Exactly.
And that the tarot works in the cycle of tens. So once we go from the Magician up to the Wheel of Fortune, then you start over at 1 again.
Mm-hmm.
And once you're done with that, and you've gotten done with the Sun card, then you start with the minor cards, which is again 1 through 10 in the court cards.
Exactly. And with my tarot deck that I'm working on, I'm having actually 3 sets. So you got your 1 through 10.
Oh yeah.
And then the 11 through 20.
Right.
But then I've got whole other set. So I've got a whole bunch of new cards that are historic, that are backed up by older cards that I've dug up. But it's again that cycle. So you've got the 3 is the Empress, the 13 is Death, and then the
So your
23 will be correlate.
Well, your deck's going to have 100 cards.
Yes.
So you're also including the cycle of the Zodiac in there.
That is
So
one
all
of the
12 of the Zodiac.
So yeah.
I'm sorry.
That goes back.
Are you going with the full Zodiac that you invented?
So in addition to that goes back to the Minchiati decks that they included the Zodiac cards, but they included only 12.
Right.
They
included only 12. Okay. Here's the controversy.
Yeah.
Michael, what do you mean by only 12?
You ready for some controversy? So in the 70s, this
1870s?
1970.
In the 1970s.
1970.
Well, that was last century.
It was
Last century.
A person that does zodiac astrology. Yes, thank you. he proposed a update for the zodiac signs. So he ascertained that in the very beginning there was only 10 zodiac signs, then it was updated to 12, and that we were due for an update. So because the stars move and they're a little bit different in placement in the heavens than they were back,
Which is actually true.
Which is true, and so he's saying, okay, so to account for things,
yes,
to update for the new eon. We're going to add 2 new signs, and they're not new. They're signs that have been since the beginning of time. But those 2 signs are Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, and Cetus, the sea serpent. So those 2 balance each other and are added to the. I know this is gonna.
I know. That's our sidebar.
There's a lot of people.
That is a teaser.
Yeah, that is one of the things that.
Or when he comes up with his deck, and you can actually look that up.
Yep.
This person is actually saying, because it is true, the stars have moved. So.
Right. And this is called sidereal astrology. So. Some astrologers are going to downplay this. Other astrologers are going to embrace it.
Nobody's going to embrace it. I think Fred and Joe in California embraced it, and you.
There's more than just us, but but we're tight.
Okay.
But anyway, the point is that that when I finally get to the deck, and if you don't care for those extra 2, you can just put those 2 aside. If you don't like the extra zodiac cards, you can put those aside. If you don't like the extra cards that I put in, you can put those aside.
Yeah, I told him I'll try the whole deck, and then see
if it works for you.
You just have to present the deck. You have to finish the deck.
I'm working on it.
This morning now we're just going on. Now we're just going to talk about anything. This morning when I did the morning reflection online, it was all about perfection.
Yes.
Being the enemy of good enough.
I caught that.
Perfection being the enemy of good enough. And that's exactly what the reading was. So I would like to present you with that, Michael.
I know. And my wife, Sabina, she's always like, good enough? I don't like good enough. It must be perfect.
Except she says, put them out.
Well, there's that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it's balanced.
Now that we've drifted, so I just wanted to...
I will get it to... where I'm happy with it,
right?
But not a moment before that.
So one thing that I like to also when I talk about death and when I think about this particular card, is that it has a companion card. Do you know what that companion card is?
Well, there's a bunch, but you tell me which is the one that you're thinking of.
What are you thinking of? Okay.
You already said that there's the Fool, but
So you have death.
oh, there's Judgment.
And you have
sure.
and resurrection. That is Gabriel tooting the horn for resurrection.
See, and here's another thing where I'm gonna mix it up.
Okay.
For my deck,
Yes.
I am this one. This was a little too Christian for me, so I'm going back to the Min Kiadhi's version of it and calling it Fame. And which is the same ideas.
Yeah, but we're not going to get too much into that.
All right. Well,
So, but that's so also. But in the Noble and the other ones, they have this card of resurrection that
Sure.
we call Judgment. So we have the death, and so in reality, then as we're talking about it, what is the death card then? So death is not about the doom and gloom and I love Hollywood movies when it is the card of death.
and to speak to what one of our commenters was saying earlier, the death card I would be happy to get because it means change, and I embrace change.
Well, yeah, and it's painful. It's never easy.
Well, sometimes it is.
Well, it can be painful.
It can be.
But it also is a reflection saying it's time to move on. Yeah.
But these are the cards that I would worry about getting. A reversed Ace of Swords, a reversed Ten of Swords, and a reversed Sun.
Well, no, okay. So we've talked about the Tower and everything, but why a reversed Ten of Swords?
So the reversed Ten of Swords, I mean,
For you.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what it is for me.
Okay.
But no, go ahead and tell me about the reversed Ten of Swords and why this is the one that people should worry about if it's reversed.
Well, so I mean, we're with the Ten of Swords reversed, basically meaning that this is closer to actual, death. I mean, with this, it could be read that it's a necessary end to something. There's still the sun coming out. So he's still got his secret sign.
Well, the secret says that I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm fine. No.
Exactly.
Good, yeah.
But when you're looking at the negative aspects of this card, it's doom and gloom.
So we are just drifting away from death. Okay,
Yeah.
so when this card comes up, my friends out there in La La Land.
Oh, you like to see the swords falling out.
The swords are falling. So
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
10,
Depends on how you read it.
10s are completion.
Sure.
10s mean that you're done with that cycle, and so it may have been painful up to this point, but now, just think of it.
It's a restart.
It's so the swords are actually reversed now so that they can actually start coming out. So I see that as an ending to the pain
Right.
of what's going on. But definitely it's like that's the card that you really don't want to get. I agree with you.
Yeah.
The sun reversed, I see that as like things are going fine, but not meeting your expectation.
Right. I guess it's all in combination with if you got death with a reverse sun and these other cards, it's not going to be a happy
You're fighting transition.
You're
fighting transition.
It's not going to be a happy.
So
Message.
okay. So we've got that.
Yes.
And I mean, I was going through and this is the deck that I used this morning, and I was doing a different spread and this death popped up. And it's amazing to go through the decks and see the different modern interpretations. I love this.
It's a pretty one.
So death is actually flying over top here, and she is being greeted by the angels. And this is the golden deck, which I had put aside. I used to use this deck all the time. And I forgot how beautiful this representation of death was. It's probably my favorite representation. Had you seen that before?
Yeah, no, I am familiar with that. I like these guys. Like, it's just what are they doing there?
They're fixing her makeup. They know she's going to go. God doesn't want to see her all messy.
Yeah, I would say that my favorite in representation of death. Have you seen the Robert Place's deck? The one.
Well, I have the deck.
Yeah, the seven.
Sevenfold.
That's the one. It's like a female death, and she's with her reaper, but she's like touching like a plant, and it's springing back to life. I really
like that?
I really like that one.
like that.
So my death will be female.
Okay.
And
in the.
Because she'll be the death of you. I'm not going to get sexy. Anyway, yes.
But yeah, I like death as a feminine, creative.
Right.
force.
Again, I can see that again.
Yeah.
Because it is a cycle of death and rebirth.
Exactly.
And that's the whole thing when it comes up, is it is a cycle of death and rebirth. So I'm surprised we haven't. Yeah. So your Crowley card's bigger than mine, right?
No, it's the same.
Oh, is it the same?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me play. No, there. Here we go. So I know you love your Crowley,
I do.
Mr. Crowley,
Yes.
which rhymes with holy. See, I'm getting it.
You are. You're much better now.
See you later, Roy. By the way.
Yeah. So, yeah, with the Thoth deck, so he's wearing the crown of Osiris,
Okay.
and he's stirring up the bubbles of new life. And the idea is that their universes change. Every change is the effect of an act of love. All acts of love contain pure joy, so die daily, is what Crowley says. And it's he's got like these incarnations, and he's reaping them. And I mean, he's obviously got the male creative force going on there.
Yeah, I was wondering if that. I wasn't going to point that out unless you said that, because I wasn't sure. But with
It's
Crowley,
Crowley.
it's
he loves adding that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it's, you know how okay, I've got a quote for you. I know you'll love it because it's Shakespeare.
Oh.
Okay, so in Hamlet, Marcellus tells Horatio, something is rotten in the state of Denmark, right?
That's very famous.
Which means something's fishy.
Yep.
And fish is the symbol of life and resurrection. That's why you got the Jesus fish and all that.
Hold on,
Okay.
you're making a leap.
I know. Stay with me. Stay
okay,
with me.
I'm with you. Okay,
Stay with
go
me.
for it.
Okay.
I can see the chain. Yep.
All right. So the whole idea is that the secret of life is in that stinky stuff. So you got the stinky fish. It's putrefying, right? But in alchemy, putrefaction is that sweet smell of impending success. It's like you're almost there. So that putrid in the bubbles in the fish is now. The reason I'm mentioning this is because the Hebrew letter associated with this card is Nun, N-U-N, Nun.
Okay.
Which means fish.
Okay.
And interestingly, as a verb, it means to sprout and grow. But as a noun, it means fish. But it works on multiple levels, because to sprout and grow, create and change, and it's all, but as a fish, it's the putrefaction, it's right, helping you to evolve and reach that alchemic glory.
Yep.
So it's got all these things.
Right. Anytime you can include Shakespeare in there.
Yeah, I knew that would get you.
Yes,
I knew
I'm
that.
a huge Shakespeare fan.
But yeah, I like that connection a lot.
Cool.
The whole fish stirring up the bubbles and the putrefaction.
So I was trying to make out what kind of bishop hat he's wearing there.
Oh, and
how that even fits.
That's the crown of Osiris. So he's
okay, and I know that's
So he's a creative force in a masculine way.
There's the jaw. Okay, so I was just trying to make out.
He's got his back to you. Yeah, he's got his back to you.
Yeah, but I was trying to make out the details of, was it just a crown? But I see the skull now. It's just that the card, you'd see it in the full size painting. Where are the full size paintings kept?
I don't know. But yeah, but and then you see the little scorpion down here.
Yeah.
So back in the early days when they were observing animals, they mistakenly thought that a scorpion would commit suicide if he was cornered.
Sting himself.
Yeah. But that fits again with the whole, the continuation of creative power, killing yourself to go on, right? To move on to the next phase. Yeah, but it's Sure, when it's in its negative aspects, when it's reversed, you think of depression or dread or even horror. But right side up, this is a very, very positive creative card.
Well, I don't see any really negative with the card. So for me, when death is reversed, you know, I see it as an inability to move on.
Right, and because of horror, because of
dread. The fear and everything else. And I mean, that's why this is such a gentle card.
Yeah.
And they're helping her with that transition. I think that the people around her would be
or stealing her teeth.
You know, leave this card alone. It's called the Golden Tarot. Go out and buy it. It's a lovely freaking deck. No,
I don't know. That's kind of creepy with these little guys. I don't know.
I know. I get you. I get you. So, but no matter what, it is about transition. It's about moving forward.
Yeah.
You know, it's that positive thing, but that thing that we're afraid to do. But it's time. And the longer you wait, well, with death, the longer you wait, the smellier it gets.
The more putrid.
The more putrid it gets. And so, yes, when it's reversed, it's the inability to move forward, the inability to let go. Mm-hmm. So
I've got a couple other little things here.
Okay.
So in shamans' initiation rites, they must experience, or not just shamans, but like, you know, a lot of these secret societies, Goodfellas and everything, and you confront death.
Yeah.
You know, to move on to your next level or rank.
Yep.
So it's again a transition kind of thing happening, but they were saying that the skeleton is this eternal part of us. It's the secret treasure that, you know, that lasts the longest. It's this
right. Even after we die, it's still going to be there.
Yeah, but it's this pure white treasure that is, you know, secret and eternal, and hiding within us. But confronting it, you're able to move on. I don't know.
What I should have done is that I should have prepared a mobile camera. I actually have a full human skeleton downstairs, and I never thought about it. But putting a scythe in there would be awesome. I have a scythe in my rec room, but I've got Oddfellow skeleton.
Post a photo in the comments so that people can enjoy the a little bonus.
Oh wow! I didn't even
bonus
think
scene.
about that. But the scythe is too big to fit in the case we've got. So anyway, what else you got?
Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, got the harvesting agriculture symbol. Oh, held by Saturn. The scythe was also held by Saturn, so that links death to
astrology.
Yeah, well, to that god. And let's see here. What other things did I have? Oh, the freeman, born free, reborn. Why did I say that?
Born free.
The Freemasons. What was I trying to think of here?
Well, you
I have a note here.
And actually, so while you figure that out, well, okay, so go ahead, because that reminds me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, after you.
So, speaking of mortality and death and how even in today's culture, so I do have a skeleton downstairs. It was an Oddfellows skeleton. And the Oddfellows are a Christian organization here in the United States.
Similar to the Masons, but different.
Similar to the Masons, right, but they...
secret society.
It was a secret society. They had their rights and everything else. And there's still some of them around, but as some of them dissolved... They would leave literally skeletons in the closet
because they used it for.
Well, and what would they would do in their secret rites, and so a lot of these secret organizations, they would have they you know, if you don't have secrets, then you can't be a secret organization. Right. So to bring in an initiate, after the initiate is ready and they've gone through all the rites. In the Oddfellows, they would blindfold a person with hoodwinks,
yep.
And I've got a pair downstairs, and they would guide them all the way upstairs, and they would take them to the coffin I have downstairs. It's got a little slide on it, and they would put them in front of it with the slide off, and then they
lift the hoodwinks,
flipped up the hoodwinks. They're surrounded by candles, and he would see this skeleton, and the purpose of that was to contemplate our mortality.
Right. But
So even in today's culture, yeah, and that the Oddfellows is still going on, and that skeleton's from the 1890s.
yeah, definitely post
So
a photo.
it's contemplate, and it is about our mortality, and it is about the ability to move on and moving on peacefully. That's the whole purpose of death, and reflecting on death, and looking at this card.
It should not be fear. Don't fear the Reaper.
Yeah, really. Why did we not play that damn song? That should have been the intro song
be the
for
intro.
everything. Okay.
You gotta get the copyright.
So we're getting to that time. Shall we see how it looks and what you find?
Well, no, I had just before we
Hibbity.
yeah before we do our little
And we're
sample spreads.
Yeah. We'll actually use death in a spread.
yeah. But before we do, I just wanted to read a few words from Oswald Wirth.
There you go.
So he said that the mystic must withdraw himself in the darkness of the philosopher's egg with a view to conquering light and liberty. One must die in a dark prison in order to be reborn to a life of independence and light. So you think of it like as the philosopher's egg, right?
Okay.
You're trapped in this egg. You're all cramped up in it. It's dark, but then you can crack open and see the new thing. So it's this idea again, very connected to death. Is life is you're restraining. It's morbid. It's sad. But then it's joyous and happy and bright
Right.
when you crack through the egg.
Okay, I can see that. And Oswald Wirth was another occultist.
Yes.
From the 1800s who created his own.
There you go. There's
his own deck.
There's the card.
And that is the Oswald Wirth, which again takes right after the Conver and the Noble.
But you notice he's facing the left.
Facing towards the past.
Yes.
And these are important things.
It is. I like that it's rectified and facing that way. Even though the Conver had it facing right, going back to the earliest, I like it facing left. It just makes more sense that.
Right.
To cut the old away and on with the new. So in my deck, I'm gonna definitely make sure that Lady Death is facing left. But and then I also am making it rain because for me, I don't know about you, but for me, rain whenever like a change in my life is happening, it's always raining. Like and rain like washes away the old, so it just.
As opposed to the big bright light that you see like in the Rider-Waite.
Right.
Yeah.
In mine,
I can see that.
In mine, it's going to be raining. She's going to have an umbrella. It's going to be raining. But she's going to have like the Ankh, just like the Neil Gaiman death.
Yep.
It's the Egyptian key of life. Again, because death is about life. It's hand in hand.
It's a cycle.
And with the Rider-Waite Smith, you can see a little ferry boat on the river there.
Yes.
So
a lot of people don't notice that. But
Yeah. So there is a boat, and look at the arrow. It's pointing left, even though they got the guy pointing to the right. The arrow's going in the right direction, but the boat is on the river. And the connections to the boat of Charon.
and it's showing, and I never, the reason why we do this is because we learn stuff, but I never noticed that the flag on that boat shows the wind that is blowing towards the right, towards the direction. So there's a flag on there also.
Yeah.
And so you see the sail, and it's obvious that he's going up there, but I just never
Yeah, he's going against...
in macro.
He's going against the wind.
No, he's not. The wind is blowing him to the right also. He's going correctly. I just never noticed the flag.
Gotcha.
Because it's so tiny.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of people connect that to...
Sorry about that little diversion.
The ferryman of Hades, the boat of Charon, and again, going to these Herm's towers, but I'm going to make it standing stones. But the whole idea again of going towards the immortal,
Yes.
the spiritual sun, immortality,
Yep.
and towards that.
Okay, so we're almost getting out of time here.
Okay.
We don't want to bore people to death after an hour. That's my theory.
Are you bored? Is
No.
anyone bored out there?
No, but I just want to start wrapping it up.
All
Unless
right.
you've got something Pacific.
Pacific?
Something-
Not Atlantic?
Okay. So.
Yeah, no. Well, we can do it.
Okay, so otherwise, one of the things that we do is that at the end, it's like I'm always interested in seeing how a card looks in a spread, because we can talk about the card all we want, but it depends upon the cards that are to the left, to the right, to the up or down.
I want to see it in action.
Yeah, it's so that's how we reflect it. And so, what deck are you going to use, Mikhail?
I am going to use the Dark Mansion Tarot, which is a fun and whimsical deck that I love.
There you go. Because I've got this deck too, and it's a fun deck. This is one of Mina's
Go-tos.
go-tos. Yes, absolutely.
So that's the one. And look at
Look at that.
Happy Grim.
Happy Grim.
So
I love that deck.
So yeah, let's see what the cards have to say.
Okay.
Okay.
So how do you want to do it?
Well, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You go. You go first.
Okay, go first. Okay.
Yeah. Because my card, I'm going to use the Golden Tarot, and since it's two different cards, it's the spreads are going to be different.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's interesting because he is looking straight ahead, and he looks kind of gloom.
Yeah, he's kind of bummed. But
Okay.
all right. So
here we have an almost Disney-looking death.
well,
Yes.
it's happy.
So how are you going to do it?
So let's see what needs to be cut away
Okay.
and what change needs to be made.
Okay.
Okay. Page of Pentacles.
Reversed.
Reversed. And I actually I don't think I have any of these reversed in this deck.
Well, you just reversed them now.
All right. All right.
Well, no, you can do what you want. You can flip them if you want.
Since it's this, we'll go with
Yeah,
this.
see, I always consider them happy or not so happy accidents, but yeah.
Right. Let's consider it a happy accident. There's nothing wrong
Right.
with reading it as it is. But yeah, usually anyway.
Anywho.
Anyway, okay, so we got the Page of Pentacles, and he is a young and but I like to think of him as an entrepreneur. He's got the bold ideas, but a practical way of getting them done, slow and steady, kind of investing, being wise with his money and getting off to a good start.
Okay.
But reversed, he might be jumping the gun a little. He might be young and foolish in a way, not as practical as he usually is. So that might be something to cut away. Is to don't be young and foolish.
Okay.
And the change that we need with this spread, you have the Eight of Swords, and the Eight of Swords. So eights I see as the discerning, distinguishing between opposites, is how I see eights.
Okay.
And here we've got the lady, and she's trapped. She's pinned by these swords. But if she realizes that she could break free easily, so it's realizing the opposite of what predicament she's in is it looks like she's trapped, but actually she's not. She has the power. It's a test, really. It's an initiation, if you will.
Okay, so
I see her in reverse. The swords can fall out. She can free herself. She can march forward. So yes, there will be tests, but the change that we should embrace is realizing that there isn't really anything that is holding us back, and not to fear change. Then she'll be able to step forward.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, because I have to say I love the expression on this guy's face, and I'm looking at this, and he's like, "Kid, please put the toy down.
Right.
Are you done yet? Is that your iPad?"
Yeah.
The kid's got the iPad, and this guy's sitting here. Probably doesn't even know. He thinks the
like,
kid's doing what he's supposed to.
Can you grow up and can we move on?
Please hurry up. So, yeah, absolutely. I love that deck. But
Yeah.
look at that kid on his iPad.
That's one way to look at it.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use the because also it's different. And so when I was looking at this, let's see. And we're inventing these spreads. So what I see with this is that what she's leaving behind, what we need to leave behind, okay, and where we need to go. Okay, so what we're leaving behind and where we need to go.
Sounds good.
So if I was doing the spread, so what we're leaving behind and where we need to go. So
That's a good one to leave behind.
So all that anxiety and all that pain. So it's as if she finally is getting a rest. So with this spread here, it would absolutely be a reflection of what is it that is keeping them from getting that rest that they finally deserve. And where they need to go is that they need to be able to start fresh. The Page of Wands is somebody who is active, energetic,
a man of action,
new ideas, and willing to learn. And so with this spread, it's plain and simple is that the most peaceful card here is the Death card. And that with the nines, we need to figure out what it is, what is keeping the person up, and how to handle that. And part of that's going to be starting over fresh, starting over new, letting yourself let it go, because it's done.
Yeah.
This is done.
Done.
9 is done.
I'm done with this anxiety. I am ready to move on the path with my bunnies.
So I would even be asking him, what's keeping you from starting over? What's keeping you from letting that go? I mean, look at how beautiful and peaceful she is. She's finally sleeping because she let it go. So yeah, no, that's a beautiful deck. So that's how I see. And again, we look
like
at the
it.
cards and we tell the story based on what we see, and every deck has got its own story. So that is the Death card.
Dun dun dun.
And I really appreciate everybody who's shown up, everybody who's in here. And so we have people who are on Twitch. We have somebody, so who do you have here right now? We have Bros for Lives and Sibylane on Twitch, and Forma One. Hey, what's up? We are dudes.
God, the Chain Maiden is trying me. Yeah.
And we have somebody in Cyrillic over there on Facebook. And so we have
Hello to everybody.
Yeah, hello. And so we also have people here on Facebook, and we hang out at MyTarot. If you go to MyTarot.org, you can see links to the Facebook page where we hang out. And then Mike's got artyforever.com.
Yep, or offbeatartwork.com. Both of them get to me to see my artwork, to get a kind of an idea of where my deck might be going. But again, stay tuned. One day it will be published, and it will be fun. But But until then, we hope you join us weekly here.
Yep, and so we're going to move on to lovely card 14.
Number 14, Temperance.
Temperance is going to be next.
Yes.
So I can't wait to dig into that because that is actually interesting. I know that there are lots of statues that show the woman pouring because part of that
is a virtue.
is
Yep.
mixing water and wine. So that's going to be interesting.
Well, don't give it all away. We'll see you next
Spoilers.
week.
So thank you all again. This is a lot of fun for us. And yeah. Come to my tarot. come to our Facebook page and say hi.
Yes.
So thanks a lot, everybody.
I was off my game the whole day.
It's okay. You did fine.
Oh, thank you.
You did fabulous.
Not really. I was messing things up. Now I'm really wondering what card that was. What was the one where he's chained on the rock with the sea serpent?
Andromeda. And it was not Pericles. It starts with a P.
Yeah. Huh. I gotta look that up.
Yeah. Jeez.